guys, it's Sandra.
And Josh.
And we are
the Peas of Happiness.
And it's day 3, or at least it will be by the time you're watching this.
That's right, it's social day.
And it's our first one. We've been having an awesome time with Project Alarm Clock. It's been an immense amount of work and an immense amount of joy to be able to put out. So thank you guys for all of you who've been following it. Today, in following with our social day theme, we are going to be expounding on a subject that we made a video about a few months ago, which was entitled, Why We Have No Friends.
Many vegans will tell you they don't have many vegan friends in real life and don't always have supportive family and friends to speak of.
You can check out why we initially lost all of our friends in our other video. But now we're going to talk about, kind of go into that a little bit more in depth, because it breaks our hearts that more people don't really understand this. Yeah. So
veganism really is a challenge. It's threatening to a lot of people because it really forces you, and people know it, they see it, it forces you to reanalyze so many decisions on your day-to-day in your world, to reanalyze so much.
Absolutely.
It's a huge proposition.
Well, and just by being in proximity, I think, to a vegan who is making conscious ethical decisions and who is justifying those conscious ethical decisions, I think it starts to hold people to a higher standard, even without doing it aggressively or without meaning to. I think other people start to hold themselves to a higher standard, and that can be frustrating for somebody who's not used to that.
Yeah.
And so it can drive a wedge. It can create friction in a lot of these things. But I feel like once you elicit this kind of emotional response from people, once you elicit this kind of frustration, like it becomes building for both of you, because mutually you don't understand why they don't understand why you're so passionate. Because we don't have to tell most of you what the industry looks like, because
you've watched
seen
the videos, you've seen the documentaries, the undercover footage, you've cried over it. Don't lie.
And so, and if you haven't seen it, watch it. Right now, just stop watching this video.
Whether you're vegan right now or not, if you haven't seen it, I think everybody owes it to themselves, owes it to the animals to at least bear witness to that.
Absolutely. Because you have to know what you were participating in and what you're choosing not to participate in as a vegan. So once you've seen that as a human being and you've really digested that, it's hard to go back. It's how do you watch this heartbreaking, gut-wrenching, powerful footage of what human beings do to non-human animals, and how do you go from seeing that and then truly understanding the scope on which human beings do it, to caring about what your favorite sports team is doing, and caring more about the Real Housewives of whatever the fudge is on TV now, what video game graphics card is coming out. There are beings who are sentient, who are suffering, and I've seen the footage. I've watched it. How do you just go back? That's what I think is hard for most people to grasp.
Yeah, it's affected me profoundly from day one of seeing such footage, and it's so hard to understand that and then comprehend that not only, nobody's interested in talking with you about it, and all your friends and family are the ones participating in it. They're funding it, literally.
Yeah, everyone you know, your grandma, your grandma's best friend, your aunt, the guy down the street who works at AutoZone, every single person, it feels like, especially when you're a brand new vegan, but even as, we're 2 years into this, and it's still kind of surprising sometimes. You meet a vegan in real life, and that takes an immense amount of planning, an immense amount of chatting on the internet, and you basically have to wait for planets to align to get together half the time. But so it's still kind of jarring, oh, I met another vegan, because you're surrounded constantly by the people who are participating in the system of oppression that you're trying to end. That's kind of maddening threatening on some days.
It is. Now you can see we just don't have time to go out and have fun for the sake of having fun, make new friends for the sake of making friends. It's great to have friends and make friends, but we can't feign interest in distractions and fandoms, and we won't be visiting any non-vegan restaurants with you. Sorry. We simply can't compromise our values.
And that might make us boring, but it's what we have to do now that we know what type of system we're truly living in, what type of stakes are at hand, with every single one of our non-human friends being the subject of being slaughtered at any given moment. So, here's the thing though, it's got so much to do with how you take the truth. I've always said, if you're operating in this system of oppression and you genuinely don't know what you're contributing to, you genuinely don't know that you're operating in a system of oppression, like that's okay, that's excusable. Exactly, it's a lot of people. You can't be held accountable for what you had absolutely no idea about. But the difference is, once you do know, once someone does bring it to your attention and they say, hey, have you heard about what happens to cows in the dairy industry? And you shut down and you say, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to know what happens to the animals, and I don't want you to tell me, and I just want to enjoy my steak, and I want to enjoy my milk, and I don't want to hear any more of it. That's where it becomes shady to try to be friends, because you're clearly rejecting your ethics. And as very ethically driven human beings, it's really hard to understand how you can have a genuine relationship with someone who won't even live their own ethics, who won't even participate in the system and be honest about the things that they're doing. We still love you. Totally still love you. And I feel like, personally, that's why we do what we do, because we love you guys. We do this because we love people, and we want you to try to understand. We don't want to be threatening when we tell you all of these things, but we're going to speak the truth. We have to speak the truth, because how can we love you and not tell you the truth? Do you want us to lie about these things that we know for your comfort? Because that doesn't seem like it's ethical or being a good friend.
That's right. Truth is the heart of the matter. There was a point when we were like you, when we hadn't seen ever heard of such a thing as the Cambridge Declaration of Consciousness.
Yeah.
Agreement by many leading scientists of our day.
And Stephen Hawking.
It's a huge statement on animal sentience. Check it out. We hadn't seen, documentaries, Forks Over Knives, Earthlings. We had no idea that people were living and thriving and being athletes and doing whatever they wanted on an entirely plant-based diet, reversing health conditions.
We had never read Peter Singer, Animal Liberation, never watched one bite-sized vegan video. I mean, we were in the same place, and we did the same mental acrobatics at some point. To justify anything, like, oh, it makes me sad when that dog dies, but I'm going to eat this chicken sandwich.
Yeah,
we did that.
To some degree, we all do it. We've all heard of PETA, at least. We all do have that element in our lives. And so, again, that's why we're so vocal for years and years, for almost 25. I didn't have a person in my life that was doing anything like this. And I have a person to do that. We did it together, the internet and all that, but now we're those people, so that hopefully people in our lives will notice, will ask us, will care.
Yeah. And that's so much of it is, it's one thing to say, that so many people in our lives, were a little uncomfortable when we started being really vocal about these issues. But it's a totally different thing that so many of our friends who claim to really value our opinions and really genuinely were connected with us, that we have this deep, spiritual connection as friends, refused to listen to what we had to say. Nobody asked us, that's not to say nobody, that's not entirely true, but few of our friends asked us and came to us and said, I noticed that you're really passionate about this. I noticed that you're, being really vocal. Like, can you tell me more about it? Or like, why is this so important to you? Um, and that was really hard, actually, that most of the people in our lives expressed that they wanted us to shut up. They literally expressed that they wanted us to be more quiet about this, or they wanted us to only express happy things about it, only address the health side of veganism, only address, like the animals that get saved. And it's like, well, that's again not truthful. And as my friend, as my family, why don't you want to hear what makes me so passionate? This is such a huge part of who we are, because we realize this huge injustice.
Right.
And nobody seems to care to understand it. And that's really hard. That can be really, really hard. So.
Yeah, we think that we all value truth, and in fact, activism in many forms is very frowned upon and stigmatized.
Yeah.
And there will be awkward situations once your eyes are open to the truth between your friends, family, acquaintances. It's inevitable.
Yeah. But I think once you realize that you're in this type of might makes right paradigm, and that you have to be the change that you want to see, you have to live ethically, you have to become that norm of compassion and inclusiveness, that you realize you're also asking, like when you're participating in the animal trading system, which is disgusting, that you are asking another person to participate and do what you yourself won't even look at. Because there are people working in those slaughterhouses. You have to, turn out these hundreds of thousands of animals every day, and turn them into products. And you're asking somebody to work in these like PTSD, causing scenes and do this as a daily job, because
Absolutely.
You yourself are not participating in it. So even if, we bring that up not to say like, oh, look at the humans that are suffering. Of course, the animals are always the focus of this, but to be a human being and say, well, I don't care about animals, and try to justify yourself that way, well, surely you care about other human beings, don't you?
Yeah, at the end of the day, the people who work there wouldn't work there if they weren't being paid. The companies that employ them wouldn't hire them if they didn't. They wouldn't buy live animals. They wouldn't build animal processing facilities if they didn't expect it to be profitable, if there wasn't evidence for consumer demand.
Right.
And so it brings us back to everyone around us is funding it.
Keep in mind that, obviously there are a myriad of reasons why you should care about veganism and then the issues that surround it. There are a myriad of reasons why you should want to be educated on this, because it touches everything.
Yeah, the core of veganism and whatever leads you to it is great. The core of it is the same. It's very simple, actually, and it's, animals want to live. It's wrong to kill them. Most people get that on some level, and that's actually a big reason they're turned off, is because they already get that.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of denial that happens.
Why we're making this video and why we want to communicate this is because if you are a person in our lives who feels dejected because we are not the fun, like party until 4 a.m. and drink ourselves to bed kind of people anymore, I'm really sorry that you feel that way. I hope that you can understand why we have matured in the way that we have into this path of wanting to create change for animals, wanting to create change for other human beings, wanting to create change for our planet. I hope that in some measure this explains why we are so passionate. I hope that it sparks you to go look for yourselves and truly go see why we're so passionate. If you are a vegan who has lost all your friends and you're, sitting in your house right now wondering, what to do and feeling alone and feeling frustrated, you're not alone. You're amongst very good company, and that's why we take solace in the communities that we can build online and through chatting, things like that, because we are a large number of people, but we are scattered amongst the people of this might makes right society. We need every single person to be a voice for non-human animals. And Josh and I, my soulmate and I, have dedicated ourselves to being those people because we're tired of sitting around and waiting for somebody else to do it when we know it's wrong and we know that something has to be done.
That's right. We don't want to just say someone should do something, but we want to be someone doing something, as Emily Warren Barwick eloquently put it.
We're just two people, you know, we know that, but we are two people. Do you know what two people are capable of? If you hear that sound in the background, there are cats running a track around our house right now. You know, do you know what two people are capable of? Lewis and Clark were two people. Look what they did. I'm just saying.
Every movement technically started with one person.
So, you know, you can think we're crazy, you can mock us, you can laugh at us, you can spit hate at us, you can talk about us behind our backs and smile to our faces, that's fine.
Yeah, but we're not starting a movement, we're joining a movement. And you can join or you can watch, but it's the fastest growing social justice movement.
Because people recognize it. Once you really sit down and take a look at it, it makes sense like that. That's why we're crazy vegan activists. Yay! So yeah, that's us. If you guys like this video, please like and share it.
Thank you.
Yes, you can check us out on Facebook. We're on Twitter and Instagram, and I'll link all those down in the description and probably up in there somewhere. I don't know. YouTube's cool. You just put stuff places. It's awesome. And yeah, thank you guys so much.
Thanks, everybody.
Nothing that we do could be done without you guys, without your support, and without your beautiful, compassionate, passion-driven lives. So
keep up with Project Alarm Clock. Share our posts, please. That's the point.
Because we're peas. Yeah, Project Alarm Clock, it's awesome. It's going on. This is day 3. We're going to continue to do it absolutely as long as we can. If you don't know what Project Alarm Clock is, I'm sure I'm going to link that somewhere here too. I feel like we've been making videos for 9 years today, but I'm so happy that we got to make this one because it's meaningful to us. It's very, very meaningful. So we love you guys. Peace, love, positivity. Keep living your awesome plant-based existences, and we'll see you later. Bye.
Bye.